Welcome, everybody. This is the Waiting Room Podcast. I am your host, Kyle Waite. Today I'm joined by my longtime friend, Destynie Wood. Destynie and I have known each other, I believe it's about 14 years now. Somewhere around
2008.
2000. Oh, God.
Yeah.
I'm not good at math. 13 years. I'm not good at math. But, 2008 when I first got to my first active duty military station. I don't know. But, so Destynie's known me a long time. Honestly, probably the only reason that I still have a military career because your boy was real stupid when he was 18 years old. So, today we're going to lead off. We've got some Red Sox to talk about. The reason I have Destynie on today is we want to talk a little bit about co-parenting. But what I really want to lead the show off today with, guys, some of you are from my hometown. I understand this might upset you. But when this story came out, I felt very strongly about it, but I held my tongue. The reason I held my tongue is because I didn't know the right way to say it, if it was the right platform. It was anonymously posted on a website. But about a week ago, there was the court documents came out, and I felt compelled. We're in my 6th episode of the show. To me, this is something important. It really is. My old high school, West Valley High School, Cottonwood, California, about a year ago, there was a scandal was revealed. There were about 4 football players that claimed to be sexually assaulted. It hurt. It hurt. I mean, a little backstory, I quit my senior year of high school football. I was tired of football. I was honestly tired of football my junior year. One of my teammates died in a car accident I saw. And I decided to play my junior year. And I gutted it through about half of my senior year, but I didn't have love for football. What I did have love for were the coaches that were there for me. Most of the coaches knew me personally. Some of them knew some of my family members. It hurt to hear that something like this could happen on their watch. Now, when I was a freshman football player, the head coach that's being accused of knowing anything about this or encouraging anything about this, he screamed at me. It's loud. Wasn't ready for it. It was my first freshman football practice. Up to that point, I had never played defense. Nobody made me tackle anybody. I was not good at it. Kyle, why are you playing football if you can't tackle people? I don't know. It looked like fun. It's what my friends were doing. The coach didn't yell at me because I sucked at tackling. He looked worried. He was honestly afraid that I might break my neck, and he told me that. He pulled me aside. He's like, look, man, I'm yelling at you not because, you're bad at this. I'm yelling at you because you could seriously injure yourself. It's the tone he set with me as a 14-year-old kid. And from the time I was 14 till the time I was 18, that same man looked over me and made sure my family life was good, that I was not screwing around at school. He made me feel included. It's the same guy that when I quit when I quit the varsity team, he didn't want to talk to me anymore. Now, people might think, hey, he's just doing that because you don't have any use for him. No, he was upset. He's an honest man. And that's what I think people miss about this is everyone says, we come from a small town. Cottonwood, California is not a big place in Northern California. But it's not a cult following. It's just there's very limited things to do other than hunt, fish, and go watch some kids enjoy playing sports. Then in that town, yes, Greg Grandel, won games. That's why people liked him. Everyone likes a coach that wins on any level, especially small town football. But the man never lied to me. He didn't want to talk to me. He was upset. It's the same man that years later, anytime he sees my mother, who still helps out sometimes with the football team fundraisers, will ask how I'm doing. Greg and I haven't talked since I quit football. I don't know if he's still mad. I don't know any of that. But what I can say is the man's not a liar. What I can say is at no point did I ever feel in danger around him or Coach Vert or Coach Gosh or any of the coaches. Every one of those coaches made sure every single member, even the ones that weren't that good, and I'll throw myself on that list. I'm athletic. I was not a good football player in high school. I wasn't. But despite not being a good football player, we would have team dinners. I would say I didn't have a car at the time. I'd say I can't make it. Our coach would make sure he did everything possible, make sure we were there as a team, as a family. That's the environment that was painted. We are a family. Now, some people might have gotten 6 minutes into the show and been like, "Oh, this is just another person that's just hooting and hollering because he's a good football coach." No. What happened to these kids is wrong. What happened to these kids hurts. I have 3 children. And I'm worried for the day that something like this could happen. I've been open to that since the day I had my first child. Something could happen to my kids, and I may not be able to do anything about it. And I would hope that the people in charge of them could. And sadly, that's not the case. That's not what happened. But I can tell you that if these coaches knew, I honestly believe they would have done something. I honestly do. Again, these men took that shaping young men into, grown men. They took that seriously. Every year I was a part of them. Some of them did still speak to me after I quit football. But that's the thing is people hear small town football. They think something's being covered up. You're either on one side or the other. And I got to tell you, this isn't one of those things. You can be one side or the other. I understand that Greg Grandel probably can't coach. Maybe can't even teach football again. He can't go back to teaching physical education. He can't be around kids in that capacity. And I understand it. I don't even disagree with it. They were the adults in charge, and they need to be held responsible. To me, that is losing the ability to be around those kids anymore, losing the ability to teach. But going after these coaches as if they were these bad men that knew, and didn't do anything about it, I don't buy it. Now, some of what the lawyers are trying to say, the big thing that happened was that these kids were violated with a piece of PVC pipe and a tennis ball. It's called the Pia stick. Now, for anybody, I don't honestly think I talked to any of the old football players, but we all knew what Pia meant. I'm not going to share it for you today. I know I have some people from my hometown who are like, "What does Pia mean?" Lawyers will tell you it means women's genitalia. I'm going to tell you it's not it. I ain't telling you what it means because to a point, that was our secret. Any part of that West Valley high school football team, that we took that seriously. We went up to a camp where we all learned, lived together, played football against each other, and learned what Pia meant as a team. It didn't mean anything nefarious. It's not some crazy thing either. But it is our secret. People will tell you, yeah, it means this or it means that. I'm going to tell you, anybody that knows its meaning, they're not telling you. They're not. But it does hurt my heart that, again, 4 kids were hurt. Something needs to be done about it. But I think what's being ignored is we're ignoring the kids that did it. Maybe I haven't read enough into it, but you need to hold the people that did it responsible. Yeah, it's easy to go after the school district, the coaches. I mean, they have money. Come from a small farm town. Those kids that may have perpetrated these crimes, they probably don't. It's easier to go after the people with money. I really hope that the people that did these things to these young men I hope they're held responsible. And I hope the young men that were violated, I hope they get the help. I hope they get the justice that they deserve, because they do. No kid, no adult, no person should have to deal with this shit. None. But I'm not going to ignore the fact that there's some people being dragged through the mud. That, yeah, they're the adults in charge. They share some guilt. They share some responsibility. They probably shouldn't coach or teach again. Not in that area. You don't have those kids. You don't have those parents' trust anymore. I understand that part. Leave it at that. Leave it at that. But go after the people that actually did these things. At no point when I played sports for West Valley did I ever feel like a coach didn't care. And I'm going to beat that dead horse. A lot of weird things. The closest thing we got to hazing was all junior players or all first year players on the varsity team had to dance in front of the rest of the team to a random song. And I'm going to be honest, it got weird sometimes. I copped out and, slow danced with my mom. But that's the closest we ever got to hazing. I understand it's been 14 years since I was in high school. Things could have changed. But what I'll tell you is the men that coached that football team did not. The men that coached that football team care about those young men. And while they should be held responsible because they were the adults in charge, I don't think going after them in court is the way to go about it. And that's what's been eating me, guys. I do want to get to the Red Sox. I mean, hey, happier subject for me. They are in second place. Destynie, I've been over to Destynie's house, a few times, watched Red Sox games, played with her now oldest child. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be honest, I felt like they were going to be awful. They're in second place. They're in second place because they played less games than the first place team. But they're above the Yankees, which is always important. Always important. I'm going to throw some stats out there. I don't know how it happens. Our worst pitcher also strikes out the most guys. I mean, hey, he gives up home runs. I can live with it. The team's winning. It's fun. What I will say is the Red Sox lead the majors in runs. They lead the majors in OPS, which for people that aren't abreast of what OPS is, it's their ability to get on base, plus how much they beat the crap out of the ball and double, triple home run. Lead the majors. I didn't see any of it coming. I started the year out being like, it's going to be a crying year for Kyle. There's 150 games, and that's a lot of crying to do because I just, I love my teams and I hate when they suck. As you all know, I'm also a Kings fan. I do a lot of crying during basketball season, but during baseball season or football season, I usually get some relief. Didn't see it coming this year, but hey, look, Red Sox are in second place, 30 and 20. 30 and 20. A game behind the Rays. I can be happy with this. Destynie, you were telling me you stopped following baseball on me?
Yeah, I stopped like 4 years ago.
Why? What did the Red Sox do? That's when the Red Sox were good. I want to say we won a World Series 4 years ago.
I know that. Brett gave me a hard time for it too. He's like, of all the times you want to stop and get busy, this is when you decide you want to do it. I was like, yeah, sorry.
So work. You're saying work got in the way?
No, I had 2 kids 13 months apart.
Okay, what? That's work. That counts.
Is work? Okay, yes, work.
I'm here. I've got 3 children. That's
yeah.
I couldn't do it. I'm gonna be honest. I couldn't do it. I think about the prospect of carrying a child. I couldn't do it.
No, I mean, I am also one of those girls that absolutely hated being pregnant. So, which is not very common. So I did it and I didn't want to, but I did it.
Is it not common? I feel like everybody has, and I could be wrong. I feel like the women in my life, I'll hear the honeymoon phase of, man, I miss being pregnant.
Yeah.
But then they'll really, sit down and talk about it. And they're like, I hated being pregnant. I hated it. Couldn't do a whole lot. It hurt. It's stuff that again, men don't have to experience, and I'm not.
No.
I'm not overly upset by it because hey, I didn't have to do it. So when women are like, "Hey, this is how childbirth was," I put my hands together and I just, agree, yes, ma'am, agree. I don't have any say on the subject.
0% say.
I really don't. I mean, I'm okay. I'm okay with that just because again, I don't have to carry the kids.
Yes.
I mean, I don't really, again, I wanted to hit on the Red Sox because common interest we have. I do remember, the handful of times I'd come over to your and Brett's house. It was a nice time, I mean, to be fair, I lived in the dorms at Little Rock Air Force Base.
Yeah.
Any chance to get out of those dorms was, just heaven. But, getting to enjoy my favorite baseball team, with some good people was a nice time.
Yeah. I remember going home sometimes and telling Brett and be like, your oldest child is coming over. And he knew that you were coming every time I told him that.
For everyone, Destynie is older than me. However, she's shorter than me.
Yes.
Significant.
Always called Kyle my big little brother because he's bigger than me, but he's much
I'm a
younger
lot
than I
bigger
am.
than you, but I acted like a child.
Acted?
Acted. I swear I've grown. Yeah, you haven't seen me. I've grown up.
I
Sort of.
haven't. No, you're right.
I've sort of grown. I've grown up as much as I can. Yes, I'm still a man child, but I'm a man child who's tries to be a good dad.
Well,
Now that I have the responsibilities, which does bring us to the why I wanted to bring you on today.
all right.
Co-parenting.
Co-parenting.
Look, I feel like it's one of those things. People know it exists. Honestly, it's generally negative. It really is. I can think of my childhood, and until later, I didn't realize a lot of things. But I mean, that's exactly what it was. It really wasn't co-parenting. It was I got dropped off to see my dad sometimes, and later found out I don't, wasn't sure how much my dad wanted to see me. But
Yeah.
that's generally the experience. Is you have one parent that wants to see him, you have another that doesn't, and I feel like co-parenting is kind of the word used now for parents that are like, hey, you're going to be a part of their lives and I'm going to be part of their lives, and we're going to do this together, as best we can, because that's all you can do. I feel like parents really worry about like, oh, well, I need to be with my partner because we had a kid.
Yeah, it is weird. I took my bonus kid to softball the other day, and I was listening to because I help coach our softball team, and I was listening to the other little kids, and one of them was like, "Oh, I have a half sister with my mom and my stepdad," and like it was so common. Like they were like comparing notes of like who has what sibling with what parent, and it was funny because I remember playing softball, and we would have never talked about that. Like if parents were split, it was, oh, is your mom coming? It was always, is your mom coming? Like there was really nothing about, are your mom and dad going to be here? Because if mom and dad were both there, they were together. Like that was just the way that it was. So it was very interesting to hear all these little kids talking about their half siblings and their step siblings, and I was just like, this is, I mean, it's kind of cool that it's being normalized now, I guess. So
Well, no, and I definitely think it is, just because, as you said, I mean, you're older than me, not that much older than me, to where in our time growing up, it's not a normal thing to talk about. It wasn't, and I remember always feeling a little weird because for the most part, it seemed like most of my friends' parents were together,
mm-hmm.
and if they weren't, I wouldn't have known about it unless I went to stay over. But I mean, any sleepover I had as a kid, luckily their parents were together. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah,
Like growing up, my dad was my stepdad. Like he adopted me and my sister. So
okay,
everybody, I called him dad. He was the only dad I knew. Like I didn't know any. I call him my sperm donor. I know nothing about this dude. So even growing up, people are like, "Oh, that's Destiny's mom and dad." And it wasn't until I got super old, like older, super old. I'm not super old. Till I got older, and I was like, "Well, he's my stepdad," and they're like, what? It's like, yeah. I never knew. Like, people I knew for years were like, I had no idea. And I was like, well, it's because he's always been there, but it was definitely not talked about. It was just everybody assumed it was my mom and my dad. And I was like, all right, well, I mean, essentially, yeah. But
Right. So, before we jump into any of this, I mean, do you think having that growing up? So, did you grow up in a house where, like, was your stepdad always around?
yeah. So he, like I said, he's the only person I ever knew as dad. He adopted me and my sister. I was in third grade. She was in first grade. But he'd been in my life since I was 3. Him and my mom got married when I was 3. So, um, I think having that background has made me a better step parent because I saw what it was like for somebody to jump in and take care of somebody else's kids. Um, but I don't think it was like damaging, and I think it would have been more damaging if I would have known my sperm donor because he was a solid dude. So, and I mean that with all the sarcasm in the world.
Hey, look. I mean, one, I feel like that is a norm for for people that have parents that split up is like kind of throw as much sarcasm and try to laugh about it as much as possible because it's just it's not a good scenario, but the best we can, we try to move on. We do it by making kind of messed up jokes sometimes, and people are like, "Hey, what is wrong with you?" I'm like, "So many things. You want to start the list?"
Do you want to start at the bottom or the top, or you want to start somewhere in the middle? Like, what are we looking at here?
But that's what I mean. I mean, it's good to hear that. It really is because, as I said, more often than not, that it seems to be damaging and it seems to matriculate to the next generation to where it really is. It's a worrisome thing because the last thing that most parents I know want to do is bring their shit to their kids.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, like I grew up this way. Like I'm gonna do everything to make sure you don't grow up this way. And
Yep.
so I'm really happy to hear, that it's not something that you had to deal with. How long have you had to deal with co-parenting?
So she's a teen now. She's not tween anymore. I called her tween all the time. But my teenager, her dad and I split when she was almost 2. So 11 years I've been co-parenting for her.
Okay. I mean that's a long time. I
Yes.
remember you know I remember sweet little girl, when we were still a Little Rock together. So yeah, I mean that's it's a really long time. With that, what caused it? What caused there to be a situation where co-parenting was necessary?
So her dad and I split. Um, we were at Little Rock together. I got stationed in England. And then things just didn't work out between her dad and I. So I was working for a special forces unit. Um, and it was just more beneficial for her to go back home with her dad than it was for me to try to keep her with me because there was a lot of logistics there that I had no idea how I was going to make it happen. So I sent her back with her dad, and then that was January of 2010. So, yeah.
That's it's one of those things again, not to just keep reiterating, but it is good to hear that it wasn't so much of a fight to be like, hey, like look, it's probably just better if you stay here. Um, one of those things that I feel like is the biggest clash between parents is definitely the who are they staying with.
Mhm.
In general, I I've always felt my kids being how I grew up. I always felt my kids need their mom.
Yeah.
Yes, I want them to have their dad, uh, but when it's not possible because I do leave the country because I have moved different places in the country. I would say, hey, I want my kids living with their mom. I trust the mothers of my children with them. Um, I mean, hopefully, anybody having a kid with somebody isn't in the situation where like I can't trust their other parent, and I feel like that may definitely does happen. I can't say
Yeah.
that things 100%, but you know having that trust in the other parent to be like, hey, I can't be here. I need you, had to make things a little easier.
It did. And it also made things easier that I knew he was going back to where we were from. So my family was there. Excuse me. His family was there. So I knew that even if like there was things he wanted to do or he needed to do, that she was going to be taken care of no matter what the situation was. So I really wasn't worried about her care with her leaving and coming, like going back with him. As far as her staying with me, when we made the decision to split, like that was the first thing I freaked out about. I was like, I don't know where she's going to go to daycare. I don't know where she's going to go while I'm gone. I don't know like how much paperwork do I have to fill out in order for her to stay here. And it wasn't beneficial to her or her development for her to stay with me. So I
Right.
made the very tough decision for her to go back with her dad. And it was hard for a while because a lot of people didn't understand that, and I would get a lot of, well, what do you mean you guys split up and you didn't keep your kid? I was like, well, like this is what I do for a living. How is that beneficial for her? Well, you're her mom. Okay, I understand that. However, comma, if I'm her parent, shouldn't I want her taken care of the best way possible? And being with me, that was not it. So be
Just
on your
because
way
the
and have a nice day. Right.
military, just because of the nature of being in the military, I mean, kind of made it harder to be there all the time, I'm assuming.
Yeah, yeah. So, like I said, I worked for a special forces unit, part of the command. So I was gone all the time. Like even if I wasn't gone, my hours fluctuated because I worked in a flying squadron. So I was on different rotations, and I mean, I had a few friends, but like they didn't have kids. So I wasn't going to be like, hey, you want to go grab my kid and like go sit around with her for a while? She's not even two. Have fun. I don't know. Just make sure she eats, I guess, and she doesn't die. Thanks. That's not,
Right.
that wasn't beneficial for her.
Okay. So, but it sounds like you and her dad were in, Brett. I do know him.
Mm.
So you and Brett were, in a good place though, to where it was, hey, like we can decide this. Was it always that way though? Was it easy from the get go, or was it something you had to work at?
No, it was definitely something we had to work at. The initial split was really hard. Brett and I had been friends since we were sophomores in high school. So we started out as friends and then we started dating and then we got engaged. We got engaged graduation weekend at basic training. I was a statistic. Um,
Jesus, those one of
yeah.
those.
So we got married on my leave between tech school and Arkansas, the whole 10 days that I had. And then uh we moved to Arkansas and we were in Arkansas for I was still in that uh first duty station training they make you do when I found out
Oh,
I was pregnant with baby girl. So it wasn't a short process. It was just kind of there. Um so like we'd known each other forever and I think one of the biggest obstacles at first was figuring out how to do life apart because we'd been friends for so long. Like, I won't lie to you, our split was not great. There was a lot that went into
they,
that,
they
and it
they
was
rarely
not
are.
awesome.
They really rarely are.
Yeah. So it was really rough. And I was young. I think when him and I split, I was 20 when she was born. So I was not even 23. I was 22, I think.
Yeah.
And I was partying and doing all that stuff because I was in a different time zone. I was in a different country. Like I was doing whatever I was doing. And it was very hard on like days when I wanted to talk to her, like that I had time or that I could, like the time difference didn't line up. So I would get mad at him or he would be like, hey, I have this question. I really need you to figure this out. And I'd be like, I do it when I have time. And then I would forget all about it because of the time difference. So it was really hard for a while. And then when I left England, I went to Japan. So like the time change flopped and it was even harder because I was like 7 hours one way and then I was 13 hours the other direction. So it was our time apart was rough. And then it didn't help that I would go home. So the court order that we had set out, I had to give him 30 days notice when I was coming home. Well, I've always been really good about giving him more than that because I was like, that's kind of rude. Plus, I have to buy my tickets like 4 months in advance, so I should probably tell you that I'm coming when I buy my tickets. So he could have that set up, but I only saw her for like 10 days every 6 months for almost 4 years. So it was
Right.
really hard because I did what I thought I needed to do, and I would buy her presents and I would take her out and we would go do all the fun stuff. So I was like, what do they call it? These like a weekend dad of Disneyland
Yep.
dad? Is that what it's
But
called?
it's
Yeah.
okay. It's the terminology exists there for a reason. It's typically the dad. So yeah, weekend dad.
Yeah. Oh, what do they call it? They call it Disneyland dad, or they call it,
Oh,
there's something with
there it is.
moms too.
That's it. It's the Disneyland dad.
Yeah.
That's the one that's really popular. Is Disneyland dad because that's what dads typically show up for. Is hey, I'm here to take you to. I mean, for lack of a better term, Disneyland. I'm here to do the
Yeah.
fun stuff. And then I'll see you when I see you. To do more fun stuff.
That's essentially how it was for almost 4 years. So it was hard for both of us. And then when we were around each other for those 4 years, we didn't get along. It was kind of like here's your kid, here's my kid. Thanks, have a nice day. I'll see you later. If I need something, I'll let you know. And like that was it.
Yeah, I mean I put myself in the same situation. I mean, some people know my first marriage did not work out, and it was not because of my partner. Was not good. I was not ready to be married. I should have never gotten married. Uh, my partner was a wonderful person. Is a wonderful person. I should say that. She is. She is. We had a split because I had decided like our son was I think 5 at the time, and I was like I'm tired of being a bad partner, but I don't think that I'm at the place where I can be a good one. And we decided to split from there. We spent a year apart, which at the time we were living up in northeastern Minnesota with her family. Um,
Mhm.
it was hard because she went from like I have this person to rely on to I moved to Arizona. Like that was I think the hardest thing is we split, and I think a few weeks later. No, I actually think I didn't make things official until I'd moved down to Arizona. That we were like done. But I moved down to Arizona for a job. She came down there, and I was like, hey, I think it's the best thing for both of us. And I didn't leave it in the best. I'm like most men. I'm terrible at timing. Um, it was one of those things. But there were a lot of hurt feelings, and I to this day can't thank her enough because she's been so wonderful about me getting time with my son. But
Mhm.
I guarantee there's still some hurt. I guarantee during that year because what's gonna throw some people. Her and I lived together for a few years apart. Like we lived in the same house. I lived in one room, she lived in another room. Our son had his own room. But she did that so I could be a good father. To where I tell people like I don't know how I got that lucky, but I did.
No. Yeah,
No,
you
yeah,
did.
it's
You
really
struggled with that one.
I will say my experience with co-parenting is probably one of the weirder stories because I really did get lucky. I got lucky that she wants she did what it's hard for parents to do. She said, "I'm going to grab our kid, move down to Arizona so you can be a dad." And like that, not a lot of people would be that fortunate. Um, and funny enough, this is the same person who pushed me to start meeting people, and now I found my current partner. So like
She wanted
it's
you to
one,
be all depressy.
but it's just one of those things. Like I feel like we are definitely on the beneficial side because there are all those hurt feelings
Hmm.
and getting past them. I can't imagine because I wasn't the one with the hurt feelings because I was the one that chose to end things. But like I did waste a significant portion of this person's life, at times trying to be a really good partner, at times not. And fortunately, I was met with nothing but positivity from that person to the point where I'm very happy now.
Yeah.
with the current person I'm with because of that person. Because that person said, "Hey, go meet people. You haven't really done anything in a while, and it's depressing."
You're depressing me, and it's not even my life. So I'm going to need you to go ahead and just do what you need to do.
Right, right. But it's one of those things that people don't fully understand. Is once you can get past those hurt feelings, and you have to want to, you have
Yeah.
to want. If you don't want to get past those hurt feelings, you're not going to.
Yeah.
This isn't even if you don't have kids. I feel like it's maybe a cleaner break, but it's one of those things. I really feel like it's once you get past that and you want to get past those feelings, then it's like okay, like we can be parents to this kid, and
Yeah, that's
that's
what
the.
happened. Go ahead.
I mean, all I was to say is that I mean that's the important part, and that what people really do forget is like it. End of the day, it's about the kids. It's all I've
Yeah.
ever cared about is being a good father. Like it, to my detriment at times with relationships, but that's all I've ever cared about was being a good father to the point where I neglected things in my life.
Yeah. And that's how it was for Brett and I too. Like when I got back stateside in 2013, things were still a little rough for a little while because it was trying to figure out now how to parent being in the same place at the same time.
Yeah.
Because it had been, we were, separate places. So there was things that he did that I was like, I swear to Christ, like, I don't know what's wrong with you, blah, blah, blah. But once I got past a lot of that, I realized that it was me projecting my emotion from all of the time that I missed with her, not realizing that, he had his life established. He had things that he was going to do. And I was like, why can't you just spend time with your kid? Like, we would get in so many fights. And like my spouse now, he would be like, the entire neighborhood can hear you. Like, you need to calm down and stop fighting with them. And I was like, fine. So eventually it got to the point to where um we had a sit down, him and I. We went out to dinner and we had a sit down conversation, and it was one of those like, okay, this is where we are at. This is what's going to happen between us. This is like when we went to mediation to figure out our new parenting plan or whatever, the mediator was like, I have literally never had two people sitting in front of me who were like, yeah, sure, that's fine. Oh, yeah, 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 that works for me. Yeah, if you want to switch that up, we can do that. He's like, this is so weird to me. I don't know what's happening. He's like, you two are the easiest people I've ever had sitting in front of me. And we were like, high five? Like, okay. I don't I don't know.
I,
But it got to a point where we were like, this isn't about us. This is about Caden. This has nothing to do with us. So we need to get over it and we need to do what's best for her. And what's best for her is for us to get along, because if we get along, we're okay. If we don't get along, we don't get along to the extreme. So it's like in nobody's best interest for us to not get along. Um, so yeah, we've both been pretty good about it. I've moved out of the state since I came back. I was back in Illinois for about 6 years. And then we moved, and moving was just, it was hard for her, but it was really easy between him and I, um, to just figure things out. Like we just figured it out. It
right.
wasn't a big thing. Like I called him, I was like, hey, this is the situation. This is what's going on. This is what's going to happen. And he was like, okay, well, come up with something and let me see it. And then we can talk about it. And I was like, okay. And like, when it comes to her and like her grades and her schooling and her extracurricular activities, when she gets in trouble because she's a teenager now and does it all the time, when she does something good, like he'll have her FaceTime me, and then she goes downstairs and sits next to him and we parent her together apart, which is absolutely not common either. But I don't think if we hadn't had that solid friendship before we were together, that any of this would be possible at all. But it's been very interesting. And her friends look at her like she is crazy. When she's like, oh, I have to ask my mom and my dad. And they're like, but your mom and dad aren't together. She's like, right. But I still have to ask my mom and my dad. And they're like, why? She's like, they have to talk about it. I don't know. And they don't understand because their parents don't get along. Their parents don't even talk. Like if they don't have to, they don't talk.
Right.
So when they see us together, like sporting events or school functions or whatever, and we're sitting right next to each other, and my parents are on this side and his parents are on that side, and everybody's just chit-chatting or whatever, and my husband's there and my kids are there. Generally my youngest daughter is with Caden's dad because she loves him to death, and her friends are just like, that is the weirdest situation I've ever seen. What is happening? She's like, I don't know, it's my family. Like, I don't know what to tell. We throw birthday parties together. It's so
Right.
weird. So
I mean,
weird.
again, it's not common. So you've mentioned your husband a few
Mhm.
times. So you are with someone now. Is that a challenge? Is the having that still, because you and Brett have a positive relationship, and
It's not.
I've never met your husband, so I can't speak to his temperament. But is that a weird thing because you and Brett do have such a positive relationship, and with my own experience, that does make things hard. I I have had fights with my current partner about the positive relationship I have with my son's mom, and it always comes back around. It always comes back around to, it makes sense. Like, I'm happy that you guys aren't in a weird place, but setting boundaries, stuff like that, is that a challenge?
Um, so my spouse and I now got together, my husband and I got together. He hates being called a spouse, so I have to say husband. My husband and I got together like right after I got back stateside. So he was there for the drama with Brett. Um, and he was actually the level-headed one most of the time, and he has seen us like grow into this co-parenting relationship that we have. And like him and Brett get along just fine. Like a couple, like the first or couple, one of the first 2 winters we were together, Brett called me and was like, where's Aaron? And I was like, he's right next to me. What? He's like, I need to talk to him. Put him on the phone. It's for you. Like, I don't, okay. So he's like, I need you to help me fix this thing, or can I do this? Or like, they talk all the time. They say hi when they see each other. They sit together. Like, I, it's not really a challenge for him with our relationship. He knows that it's for Caden's best interest. Like, he knows that it's for her. So he's okay with it. It just gets hard for him because he has a daughter. I have a stepdaughter. My bonus baby is what I call her. She's not my step, she's my bonus. Um, and their relationship is not like that. Their relationship is the exact opposite. There's no um anything really. There's pick up and drop off, and that's really all that it is. There's some conversations if they have to, but if they don't have to, they don't. And I think that's the biggest problem. I guess not, but challenge for him is to see what Brett and I have been able to do as co-parents, and like wanting that for his daughter, and knowing that that's probably never going to happen. But we're getting there. We're working through
Right.
it.
And so I mean, funny enough, it's not funny. Again, I laugh at things that are upsetting, um, but I do experience both of those things with my son's mom. It's very positive. It's very easy. We can speak to each other without it being this hard, grinding. Gosh, I just am sick of looking at your face type thing. My elder daughter's mother and I mean, the best way I can say it is we're working on it. It's really what it is. Like, it is a lot of pick up, drop off. This is what's happening. Okay, cool, bye. And then vice versa. Like, it's a very hard thing. And at times I do feel that same way. Is I don't know that it will ever be a good relationship because her and I never had a real relationship. Is what I'll tell people. Again, I was married to my son's mom. My elder daughter's mom was somebody I found in the interim to fill the void in my life, to where I feel like we don't have that personal connection, to where, like, looking, I do have a personal interest in hoping that I don't want anything to happen to my daughter's mom. I can't guarantee that's how she feels about me. um, but again, the person that makes it easiest now is my partner now, who's like, all of this is weird. all of this is weird. She's like, you have a good relationship, you have a bad relationship. I'm just trying to be here for you. And she is. She's wonderful. I hope she's watching this to hear me say she's wonderful. I'm very fortunate that in my funny situation, having to co-parent two different types of people to different ages, because I think there's a decade separating my oldest child and my middle child's mothers. And then my partner now is older than my elder daughter's mother. So it's one of those things. I don't know if it's an age thing. I've painted myself into a very interesting corner to where
Yes.
I count my blessings every day, and I'm always happy to hear when two or four or more, I mean, it's depending on, how crazy you get, some people get with their lives. I mean, it's nice to hear that, like, hey, your husband can, hey, look, it's for the kids. Uh, Obviously, I hope things with him and his child's mom get a little easier, just because it's a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot for people to see, like, oh, this is hard, and
Yeah.
it's not easy when you aren't working together.
And like Brett hasn't really been with anybody serious since him and I have split. Like there was a couple girls here and there, but like they didn't work out or whatever. I am hopeful that if he finds somebody, it's going to be somebody that like I get along with, or that it doesn't come in thinking that she's going to have a say so in mine and Brett's relationship, because that's kind of how one of his relationships ended before, is she thought she was going to have a say so and he was like, no, that's the mother of my child. Like our relationship is none of your business. And she did not like that very much. Um, so I tell him all the time, I'm like, dude, like, when are you gonna get a girlfriend? Like, when am I gonna meet somebody that's gonna be around my kid all the time? He's like, I just tell he's like, I tell kiddo the same thing all the time. He's like, you're the only girl I need. And I'm like, no, but seriously, like for real. Come he's like, mm he's like, I don't really care. But I hope that down the road, if that does happen, that it's somebody that I can actually get along with, because it would just make things so much easier if I could just, okay, whatever. Cool. Just don't do all the cool mom things. Let me have some of them, please. Thank you. That's all I care about.
Right, right. And well, I mean, and that's I mean, you guys can't see it because there's some reflection from the light. It does get me a little feelingsy, because I mean, again, like, being a parent is such an important thing to me to hear. Yeah, that I was in that same place before I met my
Mm,
partner. Now I don't need, at that time I had a son, I had a daughter. I was like, I have my two kids. I don't need anything else. And I mean, that's okay. I mean, maybe it happens later in life, maybe it doesn't happen. But I mean, to hear somebody be like, yeah, I got my kid. My daughter's the only one. I mean, it does touch me in the feelingsy place, because it's great to hear.
it
It
touches
really
me
is,
at least.
right. The feelingsy place is here,
Right in
everyone.
the feelies. Yep.
Feelingsy, not the Ravens logo, the thing under it. Um, no, I mean, it's again, it's one of those things. I mean, I don't know how this is a hard concept for people, because it does. Whereas Brett's outlook on things is, this is for my child, and I love my
Hmm.
child and all that. Like, we do have the opposite in the world, where you have kids that kind of don't have that loving environment, and it hurts. It hurts as a parent, because, like, I could not imagine. I mean, I can't, to a point. I'm separated from two of my children by a couple states, and it
Yeah.
sucks. It really does suck being apart from your kids, and I'm not in another country. Like, that's always how I was able to justify it before, as I was in Iraq, I was in Afghanistan, I was in another, sometimes it was a fun country like New Zealand, but I mean, I was still apart from my babies, and I miss them. And so it
Yeah.
hurts a little more not being able to be there for them, but I have that want to be, whereas I know kids don't have that loving environment.
Yeah. There are a lot of them out there, and it's unfortunate.
I mean, which brings me around to it, being that you do have such a positive relationship such a positive outlook on everything. I mean, what's your advice for people that are struggling with co-parenting, or not even struggling, maybe just, hey, I need some help because I'm in a it's growing more normal, but sometimes in your area, it's a unique situation. You don't have that help.
It is. I would definitely say that communication is key, even if, you're not together anymore. So if it's something that you wouldn't want to talk to your spouse about, like, those are still the things that you need to talk to your child's other parent about. Like, this is what I have going on. This is what's happening in my life. This is what's going to change. Like, how do you want to handle this? Do you want to go to court? Do you want to handle it between us and just type something up and sign it? Like, you have to communicate. You have to keep that open line there. Even if your only reason to communicate is your child. If you're like, we're only going to talk about school, we're only going to talk about extracurricular activities, we're only going to talk about, religious affiliation, if that's a thing, like, even if that's it, you have to get past your feelings and communicate for the benefit of your child. Because if you can't do that, then your kids know, like, and that's the one thing that I tell. I'm a parenting educator actually at my job that I do, so I teach parenting classes, and that's something that I tell parents all the time. I'm like, your kids know, whether you think they know, whether you have code words for whatever it is that you're talking about, your kids know who you're talking about, and they know what you're saying, and they know what you actually mean. So communicate with the people you need to communicate with, and keep your drama away from the people it doesn't need to be near.
Yep.
Hi, Pup
I
Pup.
I I can't agree more. It really is. I mean, and communicate with everybody involved. And I mean, in
Mhm.
that circle should be small, but if you do find another partner, you need to have that communication with them, because you may say something to your kid's mom that you don't say to them, and they're lost and they think they're being left out. I mean, I I could probably tie a whole lot of things into it, but communication is just it's one of those things I don't understand how people don't get it. But if you don't talk to somebody, they don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
Sometimes if I have something important I have to talk to Brett about, I'll run it past Aaron first to be like, how does this, like, is this going to start a fight between us? Like, I need to know because you're going to be the one that's going to tell me. Or if Brett calls me to talk to me about something going on, I'm like, oh, did I tell you I talked to Brett today? This is what's going on with, our daughter, because he's very much a dad to her too. So, like, you're right. Everybody that's involved in the child's life needs to be involved, even if it's secondhand information to be like, oh, hey, I talked to, the other parent today. This is what you need to know about what's going on, or, just anything like that in general. Communication all the way around is so important.
right. I mean, that's again, it's one of those things that if you look at it, and like I really do I need to be better about that, because I think about things, don't say them to Kelsey, and then I'm like, ah, man, should have made Ren's. But I don't say anything mean to either of the other mothers of my children, um, but sometimes just for that filter of, hey, like, is this something? Um,
Hmm.
I don't know the other side of it. Like, that's the other thing, is I don't know the other side of it. I don't know if my son's mom runs things through her partner. She's found a wonder. I do have to say this. My son's mom did find a wonderful partner. Um, I love that guy. I've met him like 2, 3 times. But my son loves him,
Good.
and to
That's all
me,
that matters.
right. I mean, but that's what I tell myself, is that, like, I have, if she didn't communicate that to me, because my son's 11, like, he's in that weird phase where, kids aren't sure they want to talk to you, and so I have to rely on, what his mom says. And, fortunately, sometimes he will yeah, like, Joey's a cool dude, I like him, he
Mm.
works out. I'm gonna be honest, like, Joey works out a lot. I'm like, he does, I notice it. That's what guys do, they compare against each other. um,
Of
but no,
course. Of course.
he's a great dude. um, but again, I feel like they probably communicate well enough, and I am fortunate for that, because then I get that communication back. I just need to work on it on my end, because the other side that I will say is setting boundaries.
Yes.
Super important. and I've been with my partner for 3 years now. I'm still not super great at it. I really wish I was, because it's just one of those things. It makes things easier, which is why, communication part. I need to run things by her before I say them, to where it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't sound like, oh, you sure you want to word it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do think setting boundaries, as far as like, hey, like, we can talk about this. We can talk about this at these times, because even being in different time zones, like, hey, like, look, homie, it's a little late for you to be texting me. So
Yes. Yes. Brett and
people
I
will
have
get
a
it's human nature. People will get ideas when anybody's texting you that late. So
yeah. Like Brett and I have this it's this weird thing. Like since we've known each other for so long, like we hug 3 times a year, my birthday, his birthday, and Christmas. And generally it's kind of now that I don't live in the state anymore, it's just like one big hug whenever we see each other. And it was so funny when Caden was like when she was younger though, because she'd be like, "Oh, it's Dad's birthday. I guess you got to go give him a hug, Mom." Or it'd be my birthday. She'd be like, "Dad, it's Mom's birthday. You gonna go give her a hug?" Like she was so weird about it, but she she'd be like, "You guys are so weird. Like this is weird." But like as she got older, she's like, "Oh, it's hug day." That's what she started calling it, hug day. I was like, "Okay, yeah, I guess it's hug day." But
but
like, yeah, that's it. Or like if something's going on with her and he like texts me like super like I say super late. I have 2 kids under the age of 5, like 5 and under. So if he texts me after they go to bed, Aaron's like, "Who is that?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's Brett." But he's also an hour ahead of us, so it's only 7 where he is, so it's okay. He's like, "Yeah, I was just curious because your phone went off and it was like Brett still has his own text tone in my phone, so I know that it's him for the sake of Caden." Um, he'd be like, "It was Brett's tone." I'm like, "I know, but it's only 7 in Illinois, so
right.
sorry."
No, I mean, as weird as it might sound to anybody still watching, I mean, it's one of those things where, like, it might have started out as a weird thing, but it's like one of those happy weird thing, like, oh, it's hug day. It's like, I
Yeah.
remember, weird, and you've definitely made it weirder, but like, it's a positive thing in your child's eyes, where it's like, oh, it's hug day.
Mhm.
This isn't hey, look, it's mom and dad are gonna scream at each other day. It's hug
Yeah.
day.
It's
Like,
hug day. Yeah.
yeah, I see the merit in that, because again, I did grow up seeing yelling. I did
Yeah.
grow up seeing fighting. It wasn't, my mother, raised 4 kids largely by herself. Like, she did not go and fight with my father, because she's like, I saw him. I got it's time to
It's
fight. It
fight
was,
day.
yeah, exactly. It wasn't one of those things, but it definitely was never hug day, to where I'm like, man, like, seeing things change in that manner. I mean, again, maybe weird for some people. I think it's a real positive step for people, to see.
Mhm. I agree.
Yeah. I mean, we've been going at this for almost an hour. Is there anything else you want to share about co-parenting?
Hmm.
We hit it
Just
all.
learn to control what you can control. You can only control what goes on in your house. That's all
Eh,
that you can control.
I mean,
You can have your opinions, but all that matters is your 4 walls and what you do inside them. So just you have to learn to let go of that.
agreed. Agreed. Um, we are at the portion of the show where we do some promoting. We leave the people with kind words. Destiny, what do you got for us?
Well, since you did touch on the subject of abuse earlier, and I am a domestic violence and sexual assault and child abuse advocate, I did want to say that I think it's awesome that you brought it up. I think it's awesome that you mentioned that it is terrible about what happened to those kids. Um, but I know that even still to this day, it's very hard to get past the stigma of, oh, they're lying or, oh, they're just doing it for a show. So if somebody comes to you and they are opening up to you, the only thing you need to do is sit there and listen. Just be there for them, listen to them, hear what they have to say, and find them resources. Don't ever tell somebody that they're lying. Don't ever tell somebody that they're faking it, because you could literally be the only person that they ever tell that to and blow the chance that they have to get help. So,
It's really well said, and I couldn't agree more. Uh, we're gonna get off this feelingsy podcast before I start crying in front of the 2 viewers I think I still have. As always, guys, I want to thank Destynie for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was fun.
Of course, it was great having. It was great talking about a subject that's becoming more common. It is still not something talked about a lot, and I hope anybody that watches it learns something. Anything. I don't, maybe you think I'm crazy. Maybe you think Destynie's awesome. I always have. I want to mention a shout out to the people I always do. Taj TV, TAIJH TV. He typically has a show on Tuesdays and Saturdays on Facebook. Go follow him. Truth Valley Church. Again, I know religion's not for everybody, but if you are religious and you are looking for an online ministry, or if you're in the state of Arizona, Truth Valley Church, again, they can be found on Facebook. Great bunch of men doing good work, men and women, doing a bunch of great work through God. And Jason, I won't forget to mention you, the Arizona Flag Company. Again, Jason does quality work. I don't promote people that don't do quality work. Jason does quality work. If you're in the state of Arizona, or if you want to order, a handcar flag from the state of Arizona, the Arizona Flag Company. Again, find them on Facebook. That's all the time I got for today. Destynie, thank you. Everybody that watched, thank you. Like, share, subscribe. If you have questions for the show, kylethewait@gmail.com. The Instagram's WR Podcast Official, and YouTube. Again, a little slow on always updating it. Waiting Room Podcast. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Go Red Sox.